On November 17, the Union Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas tweeted out about India concluding its first ever major LPG import deal with the US. Puri termed it as a historic development. After all, India is seen as one of the largest and fastest growing LPG markets. What is this deal about? What does it mean for India? Is it to do more with diplomacy or is there economics to it? In our Energonomics podcast, we discuss this with resident editor Richa Mishra. Welcome, Richa, to this show. So, firstly, I would like to ask you this question. Who exactly struck this deal?
The deal actually, we have to go a little behind the scenes, and you must understand that it's the Indian public sector oil companies that have successfully concluded this deal, which is of a year structured contract to import around 2.2 million ton per annum of LPG from the US Gulf Coast for the contract year 2026. Now, why LPG and why, this deal, as we progress, we'll of course be chatting about. But must remember that this represents close to 10% of India's annual LPG imports and marks the first such structured US LPG contract for the Indian market. The minister, if you would have read his statement, Hardeep Singh Puri, the Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas, when announcing the deal, had stated that India has been constantly working to secure affordable and reliable LPG supplies by diversifying its sourcing options. As part of this effort, a team of officials from Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum Corporation, and Hindustan Petroleum Corporation had visited the US from 21st to 24th July 2025 and engaged in discussions with major US producers. Now, these discussions, based on Mount Belvieu as the benchmark for LPG purchases, have successfully concluded and concluded with the finalization of the contract.
So, talking about the Mont Belvieu benchmark, what exactly is the Mont Belvieu benchmark?
The Mount Belvieu benchmark refers to the pricing benchmarks for LPG like propane and butane established at the Mount Belvieu storage and fractionation hub in Texas. Because of its role in exports, these prices are not just US benchmarks but also global benchmarks for the LPG market.
So, going forward, is it advantage India here?
It is more of a balancing act by India. Analysts see it as a part of the trade deal between Washington and New Delhi, which is under discussions right now. And it is also the whole attempt here is to reduce the trade deficit which exists currently between the two nations. You must remember LPG is used as a cooking fuel, and with about 32 crore LPG connections, India is among the top importers. Much of India's requirements are imported from countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and Kuwait. Imports also take place from Russia, Norway, and Nigeria.
Now, coming to the most important question, which I believe every listener would be eager to know, will LPG prices become cheaper?
I'm sure everyone wants to know, so do you and I, whether it will pinch our pocket. So we must remember that LPG retail price is regulated in India. So the consumer is protected at the end of the day. It is also a politically sensitive commodity. A significant chunk of LPG sales to households in India is subsidized by the government. Over the past few years, the government has made concerted effort to increase LPG penetration by bringing poor and rural households under the LPG net in a bid to cut the use of traditional and polluting cooking fuels. Therefore, a lot will depend on whether it will come at a discount of the prevailing price. What we're talking here is not the retail price, because the retail price is the trickle effect. We are talking about the discount which of the price which India gets from what it LPG it imports from other nations. Besides, one also needs to remember that there is a freight cost involved, which here in the case of US will be higher. And there is also an insurance cost element, which again, the marine insurance will be higher. This mainly because the distance between India's west coast and Middle East is lesser than that from the US. In the end, it will depend on how pricing has been worked out.
Well, thank you, Richa, for joining us. This was truly insightful, and I hope our listeners got to know a little more about this energy sector. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, Renu.